What is good, everyone? SaneSurvive here, bringing you another Get to Your Strive video today, and it is tier list time. We're doing a month 1 tier list for Get to Your Strive. But first, if you haven't already, hit the like button for this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell whenever I upload new videos like this. Talk about, of course, Guilty Gear. And I wanted to wait at least 1 month before making the tier list to get everything figured out for all the characters and flesh them out. And of course, now we're 1 month in, everyone has a pretty good idea of how the cast is. Of course, that will change over time as more people discover new things about the characters, and of course, balance changes, which have not happened yet at the time of the recording of this video. So let's start off with, of course, with the most powerful, undisputed best character in the game, Soul Bad Guy. Of course, Soul, undisputed, has a 5k, which is 3 frames fast, fastest move in the game, which isn't a throw. Has an amazing DP, which is very hard to punish even on whip. Far Slash, which is his best button in the game, really good for pressure and for shimmies and strike throw mix, really great. Has Nightwave Vortex, which is a full screen move, but able to take it from one side to the other. Very dangerous on block, so it is a riskful move for him to make, but once he gets in, he can go for great damage, especially if it's off a counter hit. Gunflame, which is a pretty decent projectile, but really good when needed, especially during block strings. Great usage of the RC system of him getting 50-50 mix, and pretty much for pressure and doing a strike throw when he's doing yellow RC. Has a top select move with Bandit Revolver. Great air move with Bandit, but able to mix them up too if you want to go air combos or anything like that. But very hard to anti-air, but once he gets in with that, it is very hard to stop him. He has a guard break move, which is Fafnir, which can lead to massive damage, especially on counter hit. Has a great command grab with wild throw, able to mix it up with throw or command throw with that. It's really hard and deals massive damage, and also can lead to TOD moves with the amount and high damage he gets. Great for breaking the wall, and has 2 great super moves with Tyrant Rave and also Heavy Mob Cemetery. Of course, that is when you go looking for whip punishes, you can use that. Overall, Soul is the best in the game, undisputed S+. Now for S rank, we have right now, I know she's kind of stepped on a little bit right now since more people are just coming to other characters, but I still think she's the second best in the game, and of course that is Mei. Obviously, JP players are still very high on her. You don't see that many Meis around the world, but still a very obnoxious character to play against. She has amazing dopping pressure with Totsugeki, obviously, which is able her to mix slash and heavy slash with not knowing which the fast or slow version she might give out with plus or minus, you don't know yet. So very hard to counter against. She has an incredible command grab, which can lead to massive damage in the corner, and has meterless wall breaking moves once she gets in the corner. Has a large hitbox, which can be of her normal moves, and really great for Oki pressure with her Ashigawa pressure for strike throw. She is also incredibly fast in the air, which includes her double jump, which is very hard to anti-air with, along with her great hitbox, as I just said. The only thing she really lacks is any type of zoning that she can do and dealing with zoners in general, but once she gets a life lead, it's pretty hard to get on in her. But if it's the other way around, it's very hard for Mei to come back in. But overall, still a really great character. Mei, obviously number 2. Now, obviously, Ramathal, I have next on the list. She's not as strong as she used to be in the previous betas compared to her release version, but overall, still very strong. Her far slash and heavy slash is really great for mid-range. Her corner pressure is fantastic. Once she's in, it's very hard to get out if you don't have meter or burst, especially if she throws out her swords and being able to explode them for even more pressure. And if you get hit, it can cause for unburstable damage depending on how high you are, but once you're in there, it's pretty much GG's right there. And that can lead to incredible corner pressure and to incredible high damage combos in there. Unfortunately, the one thing she does lack is once she throws her swords in there, especially it doesn't recover them, especially in the corner or mid-screen, is that she loses her range and some of her pressure. She has an amazing reversal super move if opponents try to get in on her, if they don't pay attention to her meter, that is, so it can play a little bit of a mind game right there. But of course, it doesn't have great damage, and she doesn't have her swords, unlike her other full screen scooper, which she's able to get full screen and recover her swords immediately from even more pressure, which can, and also it can cause her okay pressure if she has full tension bar to deal with massive pressure. The one thing she does lack is mid-screen pressure and damage if she does not get in the corner, but besides that, She has also a decent record mechanic, but it can be punished if she doesn't complete it, especially with the last 2 moves, which are both minus. But overall, Ramathal is really, really great. Now, as for my last character for S tier, I'm going to put Chip. And once this game was out, even the betas, everyone was calling for Chip Buzz as this character's bad, he can't do anything. Wrong. Obviously, he has the lowest health character in the game, and his damage is somewhat inconsistent, but of course, that is because Chip is incredibly fast to make up for the fact that he is pretty much broken, so they had to deal with his health incredibly low to make up for it. He has an incredible air super move that can catch opponents off guard if they're not careful. He has the possibility of the best pressure in the game with how fast his moves are, and that it feels that you can't do anything at all once he gets in on you. He has a DP Beta Blade and a command guard that is very hard to punish even if you read it. Great cross-up options like Alpha Blade, and with his ability to triple jump in the air, it can cross you up as well. He does have a projectile which can hurt him if it does hit, and he has a great record mechanic for his moveset if the pressure is used right. Obviously, you can counter against that, but the Chip player is, well, good enough. It doesn't matter. He'll get on you no matter what. Obviously, Chip S tier. Now, I did say that Chip was the last for my S tier, but if I had a choice to put another one, it would be Leo. Leo has incredible range with his normals, have incredible pressure with all his heavy slash moves and most of his slash moves. His by-hinder sense is absolutely amazing once he goes into it, is with possibly every option imaginable with high, low, overhead pressure, and a great parry counter move, and a great poke range move, and a decent command grab. He can go to a stance from throw, and his crossover move, which can be thrown out of if read right, so that is, you have to be careful of that if you do play Leo. And everyone thought, once they nerfed that crossover move that he can't do any damage, or even more combo routes, they thought it was bad, but no. Leaving him into a 50-50 mix even more is an incredible buff. The only downside to Leo, though, of course, is that he's somewhat slow and does have a high risk half reward, which if he does whiff, he's susceptible to whiff damage and combos. But overall, Leo, incredible as Sonic Fox is showing us. I have next is Nago Ryuki. Of course, everyone thought Nago was bad, showing how his blood mechanic is, that like, what can we do if his blood meter goes all the way up, you're screwed. Of course, if you're a really good player, you will not let Nago go full blood rage mode if you are careful enough. Obviously, he has probably the highest damage in the game. If it wasn't for his blood meter, he'll probably be right here on S plus above Soul, but obviously his blood meter is there to contain that. He has the ability to have great range, great pokes, has a great super move to catch enemies off guard. And of course, once he goes more blood meter and gains more of it, his ranges and damage becomes even more better. It causes more damage. Of course, once you go to blood range mode, he not only do slash and heavy slash moves, but he has incredible pokes and causes massive chip damage. And if you're able to do his blood range mode only super, it causes even more damage right there. And obviously, of course, he can able to cancel into his special moves, which causes massive, of course, damage. Overall, not going to be very strong. Possibly could move up into S tier later on once more is figured out about him. But of course, not going to Yugi A+ for right now. And next, even though she might be a very simple character, she is very strong. And I have next is Giovanna. Now, Gio has multiple plus frame moves at the end of her strings, but there are gaps to it. But overall, for being a simple character, she is very strong. She is able to go with her flip kick move, especially with her meter gain mechanic, where she's able to gain more damage and more defensive buffs once she gains more meter of tension, with 50% becoming more. And at full tension, she's incredible. She even has the highest guts in the game with Potenka issue, which is full meter. So for you Giovanna mains out there, you might want to hang on to that meter a little bit more longer and possibly whip that out towards the end if you want to go in for a possibly combat move. Overall, Giovanna really strong, great moveset, has a great anti-projectile move, great flip moves, and she has a great pressure to able to lose to dust lunge combos. Very strong character, really love Giovanna, annoying to deal with, but obviously I have Giovanna as A+. And next, I could possibly see this character going up the tier list as time goes by, and I have Axel. Axel, possibly the only other character in the game, possibly the only character at all, to give Soul trouble. Even though that is still a 5-5 matchup, it is a hard 5-5. He has a Renson move. He has incredible launch, the best swimmer in the game, obviously. Great moves, able to knock you out in the air from long distance and cause major pressure even from far away. He has a great super. He does have one vision, which is possibly one of the worst supers in the game, since that install is very, very short. So if they were to buff that install to be much longer than it is, I can feel that Axe can go up. But overall, he double jumps to get away from pressure, then get long pokes right there. Obviously, Axel, everyone thought he was bad at first, but he is definitely not bad. He can move up within time. Obviously, Axel gives a lot of problems to the top tiers as well. But overall, Axel is a great character. I have him an A+. Now, the next on the list, Zato. Zato, obviously, it's very interesting where I have this tiers right now, because these could be interchangeable within a couple months. Zato, obviously, without Eddie, he's very weak. He doesn't really get that much, but with Eddie, really strong. Obviously, causes massive pressure without being a puppet character. It would deal high-low mix with Eddie. It has the frog move, has that drill move, which is really good for pressure as well from far away. Has a really great Source Super where he's able to send out Eddie even if it's low, no meter for Eddie at all. Able to gain that back immediately and causing even more pressure from far distance, which is great. The only downside to Zato for his high damagey combos and pressure and damage is that he has somewhat low health and has no guts at all, so he's more susceptible to damage to that. But overall, Zato players coming up with massive broken strings that can lead to massive damage and pressure. Overall, Zato really great. I can see him going up once more broken stuff is figured out about him. Next, I have not a character that's being talked about a lot, but I could see her being moved up once more players get their hands on her, and that's Ino. Obviously, Ino, she's a very simple character. The one downside about her is that she doesn't really excel in combo damage as much as she is obviously low health, but she has her health dash moves, which is really great for a 50-50 mix and a really great rushdown character. She has her dive moves, which is go across, down, or diagonal to catch the enemy off guard. Obviously, she has her projectile moves to cause for even more Oki pressure. She has Stroke the Tree, which can catch the enemy off guard depending if she can mix up the heavy slash and slash version. She has a great long projectile move to catch enemies off guard. And once she gets on you, she can go high-low, 50-50 mix, get you on the way. She has a command grab super, which can catch you off guard if you're not careful enough. Overall, Ino is very strong. I feel like she could be content where she is for right now, but obviously things could change. They could give her buffs to give her more options, but overall I think Ino's fine at where she is. Just don't make her too strong. But overall, Ino's really great. The only thing that's bad about her is that she is susceptible to anti-air moves, since she's obviously mostly in the hover dash. Bad at all, but overall that is a high risk, high reward for her. Obviously, Ino A+. Now for my A tier list, I have Potenkin right there. Potenkin could possibly move up the tier list. Obviously, if you're a scrub or not know how to deal with Potenkin, he is a monster and pretty much seems unbeatable to deal with. But obviously, if you're like me, you have to constantly learn the matchup and how to figure things out. He has Mega Fist, which can lead to massive combo pressure, combo damage, and if you don't know how to punish him, he can get it on you all day, especially with his command dash move. Really hard to deal with unless you know how to deal with his minus frames. Has incredible use for command grab, especially with his command grab moves with Potenkin Buster, which is phenomenal but frustrating if you're on the other end. And he has heavenly Potenkin Buster. He has his Garuda move, which can be a guard break. He has his Slam move, which can catch you off guard and get on you before you even recover with his command dash. Really great tools. I think Potenkin's really strong. He could move up if they were to slightly buff him. He could go up to where he was and it'd be the best character of the game like he was in the beta. But overall, I think he's good for right now. Just don't buff him. But really hard to deal with, especially if you're facing a good Potenkin player. It's just a nightmare to deal with. But if you manage to handle yourself pretty well, I think you'll be fine. You just might always be frustrated against a grappler. Overall, Potenkin really great. I can see him going up later on. Potenkin at A. Now, this character, I've seen a lot of people say he's not that good. He's busted. He's not busted. He has too many -3 problems. But I don't think he's quite as bad. Kai, right next to Potenkin, Obviously, I could have these two switch, but I think Poseidon's a little bit more stronger. Obviously, he relies a lot on his shock state to get his frame advantage up there, as most of his special moves is punishable on block or even on hit sometimes, especially with his projectile moves. You can even still punch it even if you're on hit. But Kizzy and other Kai players have figured out a way to make Kai viable if you're able to have meter and get a hit confirm and do Ride of Lightning, which is an automatic guarantee wall break, which can lead to massive damage. So Kai players are figuring out a way to deal with him. He has a great DP. Obviously, can't be too predictable with that, as players can get on you on that. And also, he does have Dragon Cell, which is probably one of the most useless supers in the game, since it doesn't really cost anything, and you might as well use that 50% meter for something else, as for a super or RC. But hopefully they will buff it and make it more reliable, like give it, like, have Kai access to Dragon Cell at 50%, or maybe a little bit less, around 40 or so, not around like 30%. But overall, I think Kai is really good. Still annoying. If you have great fundamentals, I think he's a really good character, especially knowing how to play neutral, and his pokes are really strong. But overall, I can see Kai, as I've been saying, a lot of these characters can move up. They could be switched around at the time of the next tier list. But overall, I think Kai has maybe the best potential to move up. But right now, I have him at A. Now, the joke is that this character is bottom 3, but she does not play bottom 3, and I have Millia. Obviously, Millia, fast. She gets on you with Oki pressure with her spin disc move. Obviously, she doesn't have a pin, but her flower move, which she'll move from one space to another, it makes up for it. Obviously, once she gets a throw game in and mixes you up, it's really hard to deal with. She has really good pressure. Gets on surprisingly a good majority of the cast. If you can't catch her off guard, she's really hard to deal with. But overall, I don't think Millia is that bad. I just think that she just needs more time to develop to figure out what's good about her, especially if they may buff her a little bit towards the end. But obviously, Millia, really strong, really fast, pain in the butt to deal with. But overall, I have Millia at A. Now, for the low tier B characters, which one's worse? Obviously, I don't think Faust is the worst, as we've seen from Hook and God has been using him. You have to work really hard, as he doesn't have really great damages on his combos. As you can see, you may get a lot of wall breaks, but it doesn't lead to a lot of damage. But he has an incredible command guard, which can lead to Afro, which can extend characters' hitboxes, and if you're able to get in on it, you're able to make it explode. Faust has incredible reach, incredible ranges, has mixed plays with his tornado move, but if you're not careful with that and don't space out really well, and able to move back, it can be punishable. And his items are not that great. It's just like 50% of the time they're really good, with especially if you get hammer, the 1,000-pound weight, and Mini Faust, which is probably the best item in the game. But obviously, Trumpet needs to get buffed. It's always there for characters to get, especially if you're the opponent. You can use that against Faust, and that can cause Faust to lose majority of the time if Trumpet is out. And he does have replenish health items, which can be beneficial to both the opponent and yourself if you're not careful enough. He has meteor moves, which is really beneficial to him as well. But the only bad side to it is that if Faust throws an item and the character isn't recovered by then, he can get punished by that. But of course, Faust can get up. Once it gets a hit on you, it's really hard to get out of, especially if it gets rolling. But overall, I do feel that buffs are needed for Faust. But overall, we'll see how Arc System works for Ghost that I have him at B. Now, for the last character, we have Angie. Angie. His Fujin pressure, really good if you don't know how to deal with him. But once you figure it out, you're able to pretty much punish him on all block strings with it. Unless it's, of course, his upper Fujin fallout move, which is all his projectile in the air. But of course, he can DP through it, or possibly, I think, he can throw him out of it too. But he has a spin move, which is really good to catch enemies off guard if they want to go for a quick strike from a mid-range distance. But obviously able to take that out, and he's able to hit you out, and it leads to a nice little combo. He has a great counter super move, which if you're not careful, you don't pay attention to his meter, can get you off guard. He does have his butterfly Oki move, but it's really slow, so they could buff it and make it a bit faster, so it wouldn't be as useless. But of course, if they make it too fast, it can maybe possibly be too broken. But of course, Angie players are suffering right now. But overall, I think he's not that literally everyone in this cast you can win with a tournament or it gets you to Celestial. Everyone is viable in this roster. Just because I have them at B or A does not mean they're bad at all. They are really good and can get you really high and really far if your skill set and the skill of yourself is really good. But overall, yes, this is my tier list. Obviously, we have Soul at S, Mei at S, along with Ramatan and Chip, A+, Leo, Nagoriyuki, Giovanna, Axel, Zato, and Ino, and with A I have Potekem, Kai, and Milia, and B I have Faust and Angie. Obviously, this can all change within a month or so. Hopefully, you guys appreciate this video. Tell me down below in the comments, what do you think about this tier list? Do you agree with it? Do you not? Do you think overplaying some characters or like downplaying some characters? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Be sure to hit the like button for this video, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell when I upload new videos like this, talk about, of course, good gear. This is Saiyan Survive, sign out. I'll see you guys later, catch you in the next video. Have a good one, bye.